Hello and welcome to another Dragonstorm Studios video. And today we're going to be drawing chainmail armor. We're going to be drawing that armor on Milla Jovovich, who's being portrayed here as a fan cast as Chandra and Nalaar from Magic the Gathering. So Chandra is a fascinating character. She's had so many interesting story arcs throughout the game. She is a fan favorite, beloved by many because of her how real she's portrayed. She's got flaws, she's got strengths, she is basically a real person for all intents and purposes, even though she is a fictional character. And I love the development that she's received. So largely because of the look, but also because of the amazing range of emotion that can be portrayed, I thought it would go nicely to have Milla Jovovich portray her. So we're going to be drawing that chainmail armor in here, and you can see I've already got some lines laid out for myself. The idea being that because the links of chainmail are all in rows, this will help set things up for me. And there are two philosophies about how you could do that, and the one is the C shape, just by doing a whole bunch of C shapes next to one another. And although I think that looks good, those C shapes need to be connected to one another somehow. So to show that connection, I've actually decided to go with the S shape. And the S shape just kind of adds a little more, I think anyways, realism, because you've got that connection between the two sets of links. And we'll see how that looks at the end of the video here. But the real trick is to make sure you're keeping to the lines. And this is actually the second time I've recorded this video, because the first time, as I was talking, I found myself veering off of the lines a little bit. So I'm going to endeavor to be a bit more careful this time around and just make sure that I'm keeping to those lines. And if one's a bit thicker, like we can adjust it later. We're going to be darkening in between the chain links by the end of the video. So I originally know Milla Jovovich from the Fifth Element movie. And I remember back in 1997 watching that and just being completely stunned. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And they were able to balance the action, the character development, the drama to such an extent that I felt it was so well paced and so well done. The acting was amazing. And so the behind the scenes footage, if you ever get a chance to see it, please check it out, because there are some really cool stories that went on during that filming, especially between Luc Besson, the director, and Milla Jovovich, in terms of how they prepared for the language in particular. So I was thrilled by that. So she has always been an actress who I've followed, and I'm very, very excited to see her. For those of you watching in 2020 or 2021, there's a movie coming out shortly, or it might actually already be out by the time this video is posted, called Monster Hunter, and it looks really, really great. It's right up my alley anyways, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. And she is starring in that film, so I'm looking like I said, very much forward to see how that turns out. So I'm going to keep going with the same sort of repetition, and I'll come back in just a few moments, and we'll see how it's turning out. All right, so just over halfway through, right about here, I realized that maybe I should be using a mechanical pencil for this. And that's something I've never actually thought of before. I'm kind of kicking myself for having not ever thought of that before. But one of the nice things about making these videos is that it's actually forced me to think about how I do certain things. And I really like how that looks. So at this point, I'm going to go back to my regular pencil. Although I might try the mechanical one again. And I'm just going to go over and in between all of the S's. I'm just going to darken them in. And this is where the shadows from each piece of chainmail are kind of creating these dark areas. So I'm going to go over all of those. And once again, we'll kind of just come back in a few minutes and see how that looks. But already I'm really liking how that pattern's turned out. And again, even if some of them don't turn out exactly perfect, you've still got that wonderful effect of the linking chains coming along. So again, I'll be back in just a moment and we'll see how this whole thing is turning out. All right, so at this point we've got a bit more contrast now. It looks a bit more impressive. And at this stage, it's not quite finished yet, but we're getting there. I'm going to take a very small blending stomp, and you can certainly use fingers, Q-tip, like a pinky finger perhaps, tissue as well to achieve this effect. But since I've got this small blending stomp, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to think about where the light's coming from. Now it gets a bit complicated because I've got not only a light source, as we can see from the reflection in the goggles, eyes, belt, we also have the fire itself from her hands. So it means I don't have to be too careful, but it's something to be aware of as I'm working away. I'm just going to try to create a bit of gray tone here and there away from the light. So I'm going to leave a patch of light here around the hand, and I'm going to darken the middle a little bit. Again, super, super light. I'm barely touching the blending stomp to the paper, and that would go for a Q-tip, finger, tissue as well. Just being aware that I'm not trying to fill it in, I'm just trying to create some light and dark nuance, some grayscale here and there in the work. And that also creates reflections. It looks like the lighter parts of the chainmail are reflecting that light a bit more in a textured metallic sort of way. So very, very gentle on the page there. And it's also filling in some of the spaces I may have just missed here and there as I was working. I can kind of touch and go, spot fill as it were, as I need to. And that, again, just creates a bit more realism in the work. And I am very happy with how that's turning out so far. So on the whole, I'm just going to add a few more touch-ups here and there before I say I'm finished. But this is how the portrait is looking. I am super happy with how it turned out. I'm thrilled at how, even in the short time that I've been doing this YouTube channel, I can see my skills improving more so than they have in quite a long time. So I'm very, very, very happy with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a fantastic day. Happy 2021 for those of you who are watching right now. Otherwise, have a fantastic day.